Good morning. Today is 36. So it's December 1830 in Fayette, New York for Edward Partridge. And he is called to teach the peaceable things. So the history behind this one is the same as yesterday because they came together. And just an overview of the section is that Edward is instructed to preach. The Lord sets forth basic requirements associated with any call. He's taught the important principles that everyone who serves the Lord's kingdom does so under the presiding authority of authorized representatives of the Lord. For some reason, I couldn't read that sentence. Okay. Edward Partridge was born August 27th, 1793. He went to investigate the church in November. He was baptized in December. He was called as the first bishop. He was ordained a high priest. He was publicly tarred and feathered in 1833. He went on several missions and participated in the dedication of the Kirtland Temple. And he settled in Nauvoo in the summer of 1839, where he was again appointed bishop, but due to persecution, his health deteriorated and he died in 1840. So, some key insights about this section is that, well, the one that I like the most is that every baptized member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Such a relationship comes through prayer, fasting, repentance, personal relation, and covenants. Oh, personal revelation. I can't read this morning, I swear. Personal revelation and covenants. No one stands between us and Jesus Christ. I think this is a concept that isn't uniquely to us as members of the church, but I feel like we have a different relationship with Jesus Christ than other religions do. In talking to Gavin, it doesn't seem like he has a very personal relationship with him. He has a kind of distant God relation with him, and that kind of seems how some other religions are as well. They don't believe that they can personally, like they say they have Jesus in their heart, but do they personally know him as a friend? Moving on. The main themes are just about being called and being about forgiven and being taught certain things, but interesting note, in verse 8, it's the first time that a temple is mentioned in the Doctrine and Covenants. So here he's preparing his people. Now, on to Ludlow. Something... Where was it? Oh, yes. It says in verse 6, untoward generation. And I was like, oh, I should just look up untoward. What's that definition? Just so I can understand it better. I understand the meaning, but like just to understand it better. But here it says, if a person is in favor of a particular thing or position, he is said to favor or lean towards it. An untoward generation concerning the things of God is a generation that disobeys the commandments and thus proves it is not in favor of the plan of God. The characteristics of an untoward generation include disobedience, wickedness, and rebellion. This term is used once in the Bible and twice in the Doctrine and Covenants. This is an untoward generation walking in spiritual darkness. And that's a quote from Joseph Fielding Smith. And then in verse 6, it says, garments spotted with the flesh. Now that one verse, I was like, what the heck? It said walking through the fire. Hang on. That one stood out to me a little bit. I was like, that sounds a little grim. But, what is it? Verse 6. Crying repentance, saying, save yourselves from this untoward generation, and come forth out of the fire, hating even the garments spotted with the flesh. I thought that was interesting word use. And here it says, Edward Partridge was baptized by the prophet in December 1830. While on his visit to Fayette, he was commanded to proclaim the gospel with a loud voice, along with others who were ordained to cry repentance, saying, and then verse 6 is quoted, garments spotted with flesh are garments defiled by the practices of carnal desires and disobedience to the commandments of the Lord. And that's a Joseph Fielding Smith quote. Now, garments spotted with flesh are garments defiled by the practices of carnal desires and disobedience to the commandments of the Lord. Something to think about. It's an interesting image and an interesting concept, something to ponder and think about. I'm all about the image. You know that. All right, so that is all I have. Let's see, what's next week? Next week is sections 37 through 40. So we're going to be splitting up 38 into a couple of pieces. Anyways, happy Sunday. I will see you all later.